This is a bi-wiring speaker, and this is how it looks, the connection. You're most probably confused regarding how you should connect your amp to the speaker, and in this video I'll try to explain as simple as possible, avoiding any complicated explanation and interpretation. I'm putting these speakers side by side, one with the front, one with its back, so we can see everything better. Such bi-wiring speakers usually comes with a bridging plate. In my case, I don't have the original, but I improvised one. It makes no difference. The upper positive and negative is for the tweeter, and the other positive and negative is for the woofer. One bridging plate connects the positive of the tweeter with the positive of the woofer, and the other one connects the negative of the tweeter with the negative of the woofer. This way we can simply connect one pair of wires to any of these connectors, and everything else is done by the bridging plate. I have the proper cables for such speakers, but in this video I'll use such small weak cables just for explanations. These are not the cables I recommend, as said, they're used just for example. Twisted thick cables are always recommended, of course, also depending on the distance between the amp and the speaker, but that's a different topic. If I connect these wires, one positive and one negative, to the tweeter, the bridging plate will transmit the electrical power to the woofer. If I connect these wires to the woofer, the bridging plate will transmit the electrical power to the tweeter. So both the tweeter and the woofer will receive the signal from the amp. Simple as that. There's a theory, if you have a bi-wiring speaker, you should bi-wire from the amp. What that means? It means to connect two wires for negative and two wires for positive, starting from the amp, just like this. And people tend to say, it will sound a lot better. Well, does it? What people misinterpret is the whole feature of bi-wiring and how electricity works. It's much simpler than may seem. Starting from the amp with two negatives and two positives for the same speaker is just like I move the bridging plate from the end of the cable near the speaker to the beginning of the cable near the amp. That's the only difference. Same bridge which connects the two negatives with the two positives, just at a different point. Instead of making the bridge before it enters the speaker, I make the same bridge just where it goes out from the amp. What we should take in consideration is that the speed of electromagnetic waves are at about the same speed with light, which is over 670 million miles per hour. That results in more than 186,000 miles per second, or more than 300,000 kilometers per second. With the proper cable in electrical waves, this is the distance between London and New York made 54 times in 1 second. So getting back to our topic, as long as there's a bridge which connects the two positives and the two negatives, will it matter if the bridge is made here or 3 feet after? Will it matter if it's made at the start of the cable or at the end of the cable? Obviously not. It won't matter. If I start with two pair of cables from the amp, it's just like having a 3mm cable and a 3 feet bridge. If I make the bridge at the speaker, it's just like having a 3 feet cable with a 5mm bridge. Same thing, seen from a different angle. And considering the speed of the signal, it makes no difference. Now there lies two questions. Why people consider if we start with two pair of cables from the amp would sound better? Well, we tend to justify a lot, and if I have such speakers, I would like to consider my speakers are truly special and they have two positives and two negatives for a reason. So if I bi-wire them with two negatives and two positives from the amp, I truly take advantage of my awesome speakers and they sound a lot better. But that's not true. The second question, then why they have two positives and two negatives if by using a simple bridging plate at the speaker they sound the same as by using two pair of wires? Well, that's because you can use two amps, and here is where such speakers really takes advantage. You may want to choose a valve or tube amplifier for the woofer and a light amplifier for the tweeter. Why would you do that is a different topic. But by using two separate amplifiers, one for the tweeter and one for the woofer, gives you the option to adjust each one separately and get the sound you want. In short words, you have a much more and better control of the sound. So if you have such speakers and if you start with two pair of cables from the amplifier, you make the bridge at the middle of the cable, or you simply use one single cable and do the bridging at the entrance of the speakers, it makes no difference. I would definitely go for a single cable and a bridging plate at the speaker. If you have two amps and want to take advantage of this feature, that's a whole different story. What is more important, I would say, is the cable. A twisted cable with the proper gauge, depending on the distance where the speakers are placed, will really make the difference. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching and enjoy the sound.